Welcome to the Half Done Hobbyist. Here we are back again for yet another unboxing. This time it's from the first wave of the new Necron releases, and we've got the big boy, the Silent King. So let's get going on this. I'll fill you in with a wee bit of the lore as well in the Silent King, and I'll tell you how long it takes to build. So as you can see from the artwork on the box, lovely looking model. Now, let's see what's inside. We've got the instructions. He looks quite complex to put together. There's a lot of stuff you don't realise is actually in here until you look at these instructions. Loads of building steps. It looks so cool. I can't actually wait to put this together. Right, here we go. Here's the first sprue. So it does actually look quite big. Quite sizable. The Silent King is a very cool character. He's basically the #1 guy in the Necron universe. And he kind of sacrificed himself for the Necron race when they changed from Necrontyr to Necrons, but I'll explain a bit about that later on. So there we go, 3 sprues. The bits are actually quite large. I don't think this will take too long to put together, although I've been proven wrong in the past. And we've got bases for the wee shield bits at the side, and we've got, I think that's an 80mm base for the Silent King himself. So that's all there is to the unboxing. Let's have a look at the back anyway. I've noticed something interesting on the back here. Instead of providing their little paint guide and the paints you require, they've just provided a link to citadelcolour.com/guides. So they're expecting you to go there instead of putting a little painting guide on each box. Right, let's get started building, and I will explain a bit about the lore as we go. Just one thing I've noticed, these 2 sprues are identical, so you get 2 of these ones and 1 of the other ones. To understand a bit more about Szarekh, the Silent King, we have to go back to the time of the Necrontyr, which was the Necron race before they became metal, when they were flesh and blood. There was a triarch of pharaohs, which were basically like pharaohs in ancient Egypt, and the Silent King was the highest of them. The Silent King used to swap regularly through death, so it wasn't always Szarekh. As a quirk of his office, he was not allowed to speak, and all his proclamations were delivered through the other 2 triarchs. As the Necrontyr matured, they got more uppity, and the First War of Secession took place. The triarchs decided to embark on the war in heaven against the old ones, just to try to distract the populace and give them something to focus on other than overthrowing the, I suppose you'd say, government. So they were fighting the old ones, and they were losing badly. The C'tan, who were like gods of energy, came in on the side of the Necrontyr. They offered them a way out. At that point, Szarekh became Silent King, and it was possibly the worst time that could have happened for him, because everything was in disarray, and he had so many big decisions to make. The C'tan offered immortality and victory to the triarchs, and it looking like the only way out, Szarekh accepted. Unfortunately, this meant that all the Necrons lost their souls, and through biotransference they were transferred into metal bodies, and that's the Necrons that we know today. Szarekh, through command protocols, had absolute control over all Necrons, so he could bend them to his will, he could summon them, he could make them march upon enemies. So after the Necrons and the C'tan had defeated the old ones, it was Zarekh's plan to use his newfound powers to turn on the C'tan, and the Necrons managed to defeat them, so you can imagine what kind of power that it took to do that. After defeating the Catan, Szarekh decided that the best way to get rid of all his other enemies was to just wait long enough and wait for them all to fight each other and kill each other. So he ordered all the Necrons to build tombs around the galaxies and sleep for 60 million years, and this was known as the Great Sleep. Szarekh exiled himself and ditched all the command protocols because he didn't think that he should have full control over the entire Necron race. He took his own dynasty with him, so that's the Szarekh dynasty, and they've still been active around the outer reaches of space. And while they were active, they encountered the Tyranids, a massive, massive fleet. So they decided to come back to the known galaxy. When they did come back, everything was in disarray. The warp was seeping into the galaxy because all their black pylons had been broken by Abaddon and his Black Crusade. All the Necrons were waking up piecemeal, so they weren't waking as a cohesive force. So it was his job to reunite them all. Unfortunately, all Necrons weren't too happy about him coming back, such as Stormlord Imhotep. He didn't think that someone operating from the shadows and running away from his problems was worthy of being a king. So it's not all roses for the Necrons. That's kind of where we join the story, so it sounds like there's a lot of cool stuff to come, but the main takeaway from this is Szarekh is back, and he's a beast. This model is absolutely beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it was an absolute pain in the arse to put together. Took me about 3.5 hours, I think. There's a lot of little fiddly bits. The most difficult bits were actually the triarchs on the platforms. Szarekh was easy enough, but the wee triarchs with all the bits and bobs on them, they were really quite tricky to put together. But it's done now. I did it in sub-assemblies, so the bottom is a separate piece, top is a separate piece, and all the characters come off, so that I can paint them and then I'll glue them on after I'm finished. All in all, this is a fantastic model and I cannot wait to see where they go with all this. It's looking like a massive showdowns on the cards. I wonder if there's going to be a huge Tyranid fleet coming through the galaxy as well. Something bigger than what we've seen before, and that's why Szarekh came back, but we'll wait and see. I would just like to give a big shout out to Art World Online. I've started getting all my Games Workshop miniatures from there. This isn't sponsored, or I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. They offer a great service and a nice discount, so you can get your paints and your miniatures and other art supplies from there. So I just thought you should all know about it, so give it a go. If you like this video, like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Thanks very much. See you in the next one.